my wife and I went and saw it, and we were walking on air after that movie because it was exactly what we had hoped it would be. That it really was. I mean, just from the very beginning, from the Jerry Bruckheimer lightning strike before anything starts to hearing, Kenny Loggins, Danger Zone, and then the heat coming off the tarmac, and then Tom Cruise on a motorcycle. Like you hit pretty much every button I wanted to hit in the first 10 seconds of that movie. What did you make of Top Gun Maverick, Jerry?
It was such a joy to make it and to be back with Tom Cruise. I'm really fortunate that I made 3 movies with him because he's such a force in a very good way. Mm-hmm. He demands excellence. He's an amazing actor. He's a better producer than I'll ever be. And he cares about what he does. He's like the Tom Brady of our business because he really, really works so hard. He's there early in the morning. He's there late at night. He works on weekends. He takes care of himself like an athlete. He watches his diet. He works out. He gets to bed early. He's one of those people that really you want to admire because of his dedication to his craft. And he loves making movies. And when you look at Top Gun, his performance is so subtle and so good. Sometimes you don't see it because he's so natural and so real. Mm-hmm. He's not in a drunk scene where, he's saying an actor's so great because he plays a drunk so well. Mm-hmm. Tom just does everything perfect, and it comes off as natural, and that's exactly what you want.
I thought you went with the Brady analogy because Tom Cruise never ages, too.
They're very similar.
It could be in something like that as well. So back in the day for the original Top Gun, he needed convincing, though, to do the role, correct?
Well, there's 2 stories. There's Tom's story, and then there's my story.
Okay.
We kind of conflict. It's been 35 years, so 36 years.
Sure.
What happened is we gave him a script. We worked on the script with him, and we couldn't get him to commit to the movie. So I called the Navy, and I said, we have this actor. We'd like to get him in this movie. And they arranged for me to have him fly with the Blue Angels. So he went down to Miramar, California. Mm-hmm. He drove down there in his motorcycle, of course. And he's got this long flowing hair. He just finished another picture when he's shoulder length hair. And this is back in the 85. It was much different than it is today.
Sure.
And so the pilots look at him and say, oh, here comes a hippie. Let's give him a ride. So they spun him and flipped him and thought that he'd, come out of there dizzy and out of his mind. He got out, and he said, that was fantastic. He ran to a payphone because there were no cell phones. And he called me up and said, I'm doing the movie. But now his story is he was always doing the movie. He was just torturing us. But I don't know what the truth is.
So your plan kind of worked in a way that you got him to do it. See, he literally is that much of a daredevil where you just want to get the adrenaline rush going, and he was in.
I don't know if you've seen the cuts or the clips from Mission Impossible. But oh my God!
Yeah, he's out on a wing.
He's crazy. It's nuts what he does.
Do you ever tell him that you shouldn't do it, or you can't do it, or have you ever had that conversation with him?
What he does is, it's like a step process with him. Every stunt that he does is so well rehearsed. He starts in a very elementary manner, and then he works himself up to the final stunt. Nothing he does is without care, calculation, and surrounding himself with great people.
Mm-hmm. And so putting together Top Gun Maverick, did you have a concern? I mean, that you were touching sort of hallowed ground here, and that you were basically creating something new when the original had already, it's at a certain status now that you were kind of potentially messing with. Did that concern you at all?
Yes, absolutely. And it concerned Tom. It's a signature movie for him. It really skyrocketed his career.
Right.
So when Joe Kosinski, who's the director of the movie, and I flew to Paris, Joe had an idea on how we're going to do the movie, which is exactly what we did. Mm-hmm. And he pitched Tom the story, and he had a lookbook where he had photographs that he put together of what he wanted the movie to look like. And Tom said, this is really good, I like it, but here, Joe, you got to promise me one thing. If we do this, it has to be real. We have to get everybody up in the jets. And the first movie, we put the actors up in jets, and we couldn't use a frame of it. They all threw up. It was a mess. I think there's one shot of Tom in the movie in the real plane. So this time, Tom and Joe designed this program where for 3 months we had our actors in first a prop plane, then an aerobatic prop, then a jet, then an F-18. So they went through this process of dealing with the G-forces. So when they actually had to act, they could handle the G-forces. But it wasn't quite that easy because what happens is the actors have to rehearse on the ground with the director and with Tom in a makeshift cockpit. Then they have to get in the plane. They have to do their own makeup up there. They have to turn the camera on. They have to figure out where the sun is because they shouldn't say their lines because it has to match to the exterior.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work. And we'd send them up there, and they'd be up there for 2 hours. And we couldn't see what they were doing, could hear them. They come down. Tom and Joe look at the footage, and they said, let's do it again. So they went right back up again. And by the way, when they get down on the ground, they're soaking wet. I mean, they're getting pounded around there with those G-forces. It is so hard and so compromising. And be able to work and to act and be as brilliant as these kids are, it's phenomenal.
Well, it was just amazing. It really was. I honestly felt like I was put back in a time warp back in 1985, and I was back, a young kid again watching this movie. It was just amazing. And a sign of a good movie or great movie is when people are talking about it and word of mouth is going strong, and that happened with Top Gun Maverick. And then that there's also crazy ass conspiracy theories. Have you heard the one involving your film? Have you heard about this one? That when Tom Cruise in the very beginning of it, goes up and destroys spoiler alert, it's just at the beginning, he destroys the plane, that he actually dies in it, and the rest of it is a dream sequence after he's passed away.
It's not true, but it's an interesting theory. It's fun.
That is out there, right, Chris? That's being discussed right now?
It's definitely out there. Just because it's all neatly how, him and Goose's son have a great relationship, and it kind of ties up all the...
Well, at the end of the movie, they have a great relationship.
But I'm saying that the whole line is, it's just a, fan theory.
So that is not true. You can debunk that right now.
Yes, but if it sells tickets, we'll go with it.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Bruckheimer. Very good.